You know how I feel. Sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Woo! Blossom on a tree. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. You'll never forget this presentation. A little plug, Friday night at the Arts Alliance, Cork and Canvas, 5 to 7. The Little Big Band is performing. Dr. Coy Johnston on alto sax. You don't want to miss that. It's like going to, it's even better than, who was that guy? He's too long gone.
We didn't even know him.
Don't even.
Not even worth comparing.
But I'm the vocalist for that group. I'd rather be singing most of the time than presenting and speaking. But the song was purposely chosen because I am feeling good. My name is Dr. Trevor Sexton. I'm a naturopathic doctor. And each table has 2 of these. If you take a picture of it, you can bring that in and get 10% off of a certain test we do. I'll talk about that in a minute. But so, what is naturopathic medicine? How many of you have ever been to a naturopathic doctor? All right, that's a pretty good number. So, naturopathic medicine, my philosophy is those 3 things right at the top. The threefold way to heal. You remove toxicity out of the body, and you're going to heal. You give the body what it needs, and you're going to heal. And then you stimulate the healing capability of the body, and you will heal. If any of those, like a 3-legged stool, are out of place, it's going to be very difficult to heal. So at my clinic, that's what we do with all our patients. And if you look at the blue page, the various things we treat and conditions, there's no, well, okay, there's always a limit, but there's really no limit to what we as naturopathic doctors can treat, especially when it's chronic diseases, because as you get rid of the waste, give the body what it needs, and stimulate the body's ability to heal, your body will heal. And you'll feel really good, just like that song said. So some of the therapies we do at Compass Naturopathic Health Clinic, Wayne and Marcia introduced what they do. They're there at the clinic with us. Kristen actually does a therapy too called AccuDetox, which is a wonderful therapy. It's just 5 simple acupuncture points in the ear that helps you, without talking about your problems, heal from the trauma that led to the addiction. Whether it's sugar, food, alcohol, pornography, drugs, you name it, that therapy can help. And we've seen it, and it's pretty amazing. So she does that. So I do acupuncture trained in the traditional Chinese medicine. It was part of the curriculum in my naturopathic medical school, so I can do acupuncture for anything from incontinence to pain in your shoulder, and I've seen success in all of those with just acupuncture. Actually, one of my favorite stories when I was a brand new doctor, it still astounds me today, but it amazed me back then. I had a patient come in with 10 years of, if she laughed, she peed. If she jumped, she peed. If she, if she was jarred in a car, she peed. 2 acupuncture treatments, and that 10-year problem was gone. So it really does work. And that was one of those first, I'm a brand new doctor. I'm like, wow, this is amazing stuff. Pain is definitely a go-to for acupuncture because knees, shoulders, hips, ankles, I've done it all, and the pain is significantly reduced and sometimes gone for good with just acupuncture. So I love doing acupuncture. It's something I do regularly in the office. Not all my colleagues do. It was just part of our curriculum, and I was drawn to it. Hydrotherapy. So what is hydrotherapy? It's basically you're alternating hot and cold and stimulating the body's endorphins, immune system, and raising up the white blood cell count by just stimulating with hot and cold. I don't know if has anyone heard of Wim Hof? He's this guy who does like record ice baths. I think he's been in an ice bath for an hour and 12 minutes, just ice. And he climbed Mount Everest in his shorts. And he just has exposed himself to such extremes. But when they study him, he's fascinating because his immune system he just can't get sick. He's like a bear. I don't know if you know this. Bears have severely strong immune systems. If they get hurt or sick, they heal really quickly. Well, Wim Hof can do that, and that's what we do in our clinic is alternating this hot and cold, and it actually speeds up any sort of sickness, whether it's chronic or acute, to the healing state. So we love doing that. We have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Some people have heard of them. They're at hospitals quite often for wound repair. If someone has diabetes and they don't have good blood flow to their feet, they can go in the hyperbaric chamber. Well, it's wonderful for a myriad of other things, including post-stroke. My colleague that is sometimes at the office, she had a patient who had a stroke, and 5 years later could still not speak from that stroke. Went into the hyperbaric chamber about 10 times. It's an hour-long treatment, so 10 hours. That's not much. And after the 10th or 11th time, started speaking again. And this is 5 years later. So you can heal from nervous things, brain things with that hyperbaric chamber. So we have one of those. Fits 2 people. Actually, we have a mom and 3 kids who come and sit in it all together for an hour. They have 2 autistic kids, and her autistic children have started progressing as they go get the treatment. So it's wonderful for that. Herbs, herbal medicine, botanical medicine. I love knowing the local herbs. We have done herb walks where you go and learn, oh, here's this, these are rose hips. They're full of vitamin C if you're ever out in the woods. And I don't know why you would be, but get stuck or whatever. Rose hips are not only edible, but they're full of vitamin C, and they can help you get over sicknesses quickly. Stuff like that. One of my favorite interactions was with a medical doctor. They're kind of the worst. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. He was old-fashioned, and he just thought naturopathic stuff was hooey. And he's like, botanical medicine, what can it really do? And I was like, really? Well, so we took an herb called Gymnema sylvestre, and he took the liquid version of it, and you swish it in your mouth and swallow it. You cannot taste sweet things for 2 to 3 hours. So he was convinced. He's like, okay, I'm convinced this botanical medicine is something. So if you are a sweet tooth, and after dinner you always have dessert, and you're like, man, I'd really like to stop. Well, swish some of that herb after dinner before your dessert, and I guarantee you won't want your dessert because it blocks out the sugar receptors, and so you're just like, fine, I can't taste anything, everything tastes awful, I'm just going to go to bed. After a while, you've got the good habit of no sweets after dinner. So I love herbs and what they can do. Vitamins and minerals, I like to find out specifically what you might be deficient in. I'm not a multivitamin guy. I have patients come in with boxes of supplements because they saw an infomercial, they read something on Dr. Google, they heard something from Coy. So, I'm going to teach them the whole time. So they get these ideas that this is what they need, but really it's better to test rather than guess. And so finding out what minerals you might be deficient in, we do hair mineral analysis for that, you can do blood work for that. And that way you can pinpoint, oh yeah, you don't need these expensive minerals and vitamins, you just need this one, zinc. That's $8. You're going to up that and you're going to feel a lot better. Lifestyle changes. Everybody hates this one because they like their lifestyle. You need to repent and eat more simple. So today's meal was sort of an example, a little too simple, but it was okay. It was good. Could have used some salt. But simple meals where you can identify the ingredients. We had broccoli, beef, and rice, and bread. And there's probably like 5 ingredients in the bread. But you know what you ate. You eat a lasagna from a Stouffer's box, you don't know what the heck is in there, right? So knowing what you're eating is a big lifestyle change that would be to your benefit. Exercise, of course, sunlight, grounding, sleep. Oh, that's a huge one. There's a lot of people who have sleep issues, and if we can get those fixed, you actually heal very quickly, very easily. You need to sleep. Emotional therapies. I can't emphasize enough how important. What's funny is we're not a mental health clinic, but for the White Mountains, we got nominated for Best Behavioral Health Clinic. And I think, to a degree, it's true. So we
also won top 3.
We won top 3.
In top
so
3.
We're one of the best. And we're the best at acupuncture as well. So there's so many diseases that start right here and then manifest down here. So if we can heal up here, healing the body is so much easier. One case, a patient of mine had severe pain in her feet and her back because of trauma as a child. I deal with some deep trauma that I pry out of them. And after some of the therapies I did, I didn't hear from her for a while. She was coming monthly. And I called her up a few months later and said, "What's going on?" She's like, "All my problems are gone." And I said, "What?" I had a lot of problems. Well, we dealt with the emotional connection to the physical problem. And she said her feet no longer hurt, her back no longer hurt, and she was able to do some things that she's never been able to do because of that trauma. So it was a very exciting phone call for me. So emotional therapies we take care of in all sorts of ways. Pharmaceuticals and surgery, they do have a place, and they're at Dr. Johnston's office. But my goal with all my patients is if you're on 1 to 17 medications, that's my record so far. So a patient had 17 drugs. My goal is to get you off of them. So that might take a long time for especially someone who has 17, but weaning slowly and safely as you make lifestyle changes. So you don't support the pharmaceutical industry because they got enough money. Support me. And then dietary changes. We talked about that, eating simple foods. So at our clinic, we do these things. We do, it's something where it's a concierge service. So you do have access to me, not 24/7, that's where you join Dr. Johnston's plan, but you do have access to me through email and so forth, where I can say, you can call me or email me and say, "I'm not feeling good, this is what's going on," and I can say, "All right, go in your pantry, grab some apple cider vinegar, and I want you to get some, gargle some salt." Just, you forget stuff when you're sick, don't you? Like, you know when you're not sick, you're like, "Oh yeah, you should do this and this," but when you're sick, even me, I'm calling colleagues and like, "What do I do? I hate my life." I just don't feel good and I can't think. And they tell me and I go, "Oh yeah, I knew that." So that is available with different plans. So I talked about that at the bottom of the page, where we don't take insurance because I don't want insurance dictating what I do. Okay, they can go to hell for all I care.
Amen.
All right, see, we agree. But we do know that Bidenomics works for us, so we don't have all the funds right off the front, and we have monthly plans. And so we have different tiers. If you're very sick, you might need to come in weekly. We have some of those. If you're pretty okay and life's manageable, but you'd like to feel better, maybe a monthly is good for you. If you just are healthy and you had an issue, but you want to make sure you stay healthy, we have a quarterly visit plan. And then we have a new one that's kind of my favorite called the CYA plan, Cover Your Assets. Where once a year you see the naturopath so I can kick you in the assets and get you back on track. Everybody needs to take a look at the back of my card to appreciate it. Read the bottom line and get a good chuckle. So the plans can be implemented right away so that your first visit can be more affordable. So one thing that I do, and that's what everybody gets 10% off of, is the Carroll Method Food Intolerance Assessment. So Dr. Carroll was a naturopathic doctor in the 40s and 50s, maybe even earlier. It was a long time ago. He had arthritis, and he was an electrical engineer, and he went to a clinic in Europe, and they changed his diet. He got hydrotherapy, and his arthritis was cured. He came back to the States, became a naturopathic doctor, and one of the things he invented that I think is amazing is the Carroll method. He invented a machine. Being an electrical engineer, he was very fascinated with the electronics of the body. And with that machine, I can find out a food that you're intolerant to. And you avoid that food, and your problems melt away. It's amazing what people will come to me with, and I say, really, a lot of your issues are going to go away if you avoid, yours is potato. And so they do really strict no potato. It's a problem they've had. They've seen other naturopaths that didn't get better, and they stop eating potato, and voila, all their problems start going away. Even a week later, I'm talking to them, not expecting much change, because I always have a week follow-up with my initial patients. And a week later, they're like, actually, I go through their list of what they gave me, 10 things. They're like, oh, that's not really a problem. I haven't even thought about this all week. And so we finally get down to maybe the one main problem that just needs a little more tweaking. So finding your food intolerance can be a life changer for arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, you name it. Finding out your food intolerance is a big deal. And it's based on your ancestry. So if you have ancestors from Northern Europe, there's a big chance that you have a potato intolerance. 65% of the world, it's dairy, so you might as well just avoid it anyway. But as you do this, it makes big changes. Those of my patients can attest to that being true, including myself. And so everyone here gets 10% off of that food intolerance assessment if you want. You don't have to make an appointment or anything, it's just part of the deal. Any questions from you guys?
Okay, explain our food, what is good for us. Explain the sourdough bread. Because a lot of people think you can't eat bread.
Okay, sourdough bread is usually like three, I don't know about this one specifically, but it's usually 3 ingredients: water, flour, and salt. What they do to the flour is they ferment it. It digests some of the gluten. It tastes amazing. So I do know a lot of my patients who are gluten intolerant can actually handle good, true sourdough bread. I personally, it's Trevor theory. I think a lot of people's gluten problems is the glyphosate that's sprayed on our American crops since the 70s. It's been allowed. That's a poison that kills the plant so they can harvest it all conveniently the same day. Not worrying about how healthy we are. And they say it's healthy, but they're full of bad words. Anyway, but if you go to Europe, I have so many people say they go to Europe, they eat the food, they feel fine. They have rules against some of the poisons we spray on our crops, which is unfortunate that we do that. There's certain political people who want to change that, so vote accordingly. But yes, that's a simple food too, and humans have eaten it for thousands of years. So for it to suddenly be a problem is kind of wonky, and I think it's some of the poisons we spray on our food. So eat good quality sourdough bread, but everything, like I said, everything on this plate was one ingredient.
I have a request.
Yes.
One of the things that really I was very adamant about you is tell us about you and what you did to heal yourself.
To be where I am today.
Yes.
So I have had rheumatoid arthritis since I was 7. I went to conventional rheumatologists till I was 21. Took 3 to 4 different prescriptions that worked okay. I mean, they were okay. But they also put me at risk of getting sick very easily. At the beginning, I was this poor little kid that you just touched me a little bit and I'd bleed or bruise because I was on tons of aspirin. They didn't know what to do with me. It was fairly new at the time. And then I ran into some people who suggested I change my diet. And I was willing to do anything. So I stopped all medication cold turkey, changed my diet to very clean eating. I will say at the time, it was vegan. I'm not vegan now, and I don't suggest you be vegan. But I avoided dairy, and dairy is my food intolerance. So as long as I avoid dairy and sugar, I do great. And so that's why it's so important to me to know what's in your food, because sugar sneaks in spaghetti sauce, it sneaks into so many different things. They add it because it makes you want more. It's like a drug. But I decided I don't want to be a doctor that just prescribes pills. I always, as a kid, wanted to find the cure for arthritis, and I feel like I have. Just eat right. I don't know if any of you know who Jordan Peterson is, for example. His daughter has rheumatoid arthritis, and she changed her diet dramatically, the opposite, the way I did. She eats carnivore, only beef, and her arthritis is gone. So there's something to our food creating a lot of these chronic issues. And genetics, that's a cop-out. Oh, it's your genes. Oh, it's your genes. No, it's what your parents fed you and what you continue to eat because you're stuck eating that junk. So it's what you eat, 80%. 20%, fine. You've got a weak liver because your mom gave it to you because she ate Oreos her whole pregnancy. Whatever. So that's what brought me to become a naturopathic doctor, because I learned we teach people how to eat right and change your life. And I didn't do it to become to get money, because I could have become a dermatologist easy. A residency was in line. That's the easiest physician there ever was. Would you agree? You literally cut off little moles and you make a couple $1,000 each time, and you make $500,000 a year putting lotions on skin. Do you know how easy it is to cure so many of the skin issues with just good lifestyle changes? All right, I digress. I don't suppress, I help your body heal. Any other questions? So glad you came. Come to Cork and Canvas and hear almost 2 hours of big band music. Coy on the saxophone, he's amazing. All right. And we have some good giveaways. Should I explain the giveaways?
Yes, please do, because I love your book.
Did you read it?
I did.
Yeah, it's the best book ever. All right, so the biggest giveaway is a book, a free food intolerance assessment, a free session with Marcia, right? Mm-hmm. Buffered seed, which is, okay, fine, I said I get specific, but most people are deficient in magnesium and vitamin C. And buffered seed, especially those who work out really hard, helps you recover very fast. You take it after dinner, 1 scoop. I'm not telling you this, I'm not your doctor, but that's what you do. And you sleep amazing and you feel really good in the morning. It has D-hist, which helps with the allergy season. This is ragweed, dry fall, windy, dry, I don't want to live here anymore, dry season. I'll stay, but I'm just letting you know how I feel. But
It works in 15 minutes.
D-hist is great for allergies. You take 2 pills away from food 3 times a day if it's really bad, once a day if it's not too bad. I'm not your doctor, I didn't tell you to do that. So, fire cider is great if you're getting a flu or respiratory issue. You just start chugging it down. I think directions are on there. And It does feel like fire, but it kills everything. Castor oil, my wife teases me because I suggest it so often, but it cures everything. So just topically, just know that I said topically. We've got, and some of our products are actually from local people who make them. A magnesium spray, you spray 4 times on your feet if you have trouble sleeping, helps you sleep. So whoever wins this, just know you don't have to keep it off. You sleep fine, give it away. Some tallow lip balm. Okay, so that's the big prize. And then we have 3 other books, so there's 3 more prizes. And so the book I wrote with a friend during COVID because we had time. It was a book I wanted to write all along. It's called Please Bless the Refreshments, How to Really Nourish and Strengthen Your Body. Some of you will get that. But there's no amount of praying over your food that's going to make those donuts healthy. So you'll notice the front cover of the book is donuts. So there's 3 of those books as well.